Well, I guess I'm gonna eventually talk about this game because I played it through. And I'm not gonna talk about difficulty levels or the combat shit or any of that because that seemed to be all right in my view. Even though other people will, more hardcore gamers will probably complain about that stuff. What I'm talking about, of course, is the new Mass Effect Andromeda. And yes, I didn't play the previous Mass Effects. I did play Dragon Age 1 and 2, and as well as Dragon Age Inquisition. And of course, listening to this one guy complaining about the sex Mass Effect Andromeda and how come BioWare was, you know, putting out this whole big thing about, oh, you can have sex with this, and this, which, by the way, can't, is now that the game's finally out, it's a little bullshit. It's the relationship thing is still pretty linear, just like Dragon Age Inquisition was, and Dragon Age 2, and but not like the original Dragon Age where you really had to work your ass off. But the original Dragon Age Origin, I mean, you had to work with the relationship will really hard because of the simple fact that, well, your protagonist didn't talk, so that meant extra dialogue for every other character. Or Jade Empire, which had scenes that were censored. But listening to this guy, day Matt is saying, "Oh well, why are you promoting all this sex and stuff?" Well, let's look at it. First, you had Go Go 13, which the U.S. version was censored, but in Japan, straight up nudity for the original NES. Pixelated nudity, but nudity in video games is nothing new. But it didn't become more mainstream until, I don't know, God of War, and then of course you got all the Witcher games. God, the Witcher games. Let's just say there's a scene where you're riding a horse backwards. You're not having sex with the horse. The woman that's sitting on, I mean, you're sitting on top of a saddle, and a woman is sitting on top of you between your legs. Yeah. And of course, you also had The Sims. And of course, since this is in it's a stupid fucking thing for a guy like him to say that stupid ass shit. And of course, as you know, there's nudity in Dragon Age Inquisition, and now there's nudity in Mass Effect. Originally, everybody just made love in their underwear. I'm not joking. Of course, the even more funnier part that nobody talks about is that there's going to be a scene like if you pick the sister, there's going to be this small scene where you're going to play the brother. Or if you pick the brother, you're going to play the sister in a short scene. They did that with Jade Empire, where you suddenly would play your love interest. Out of nowhere, you're no longer the main character. You're now the love interest. But in Mass Effect 8 case, it's like you're no longer one of the siblings. You're the one you didn't choose. And then we come down to the face animations. Face animations. Extremely bad on the humans. I mean, the non aliens, the Andronians, I can't name them, but they're the new race. And then you got the Krogan, the Solarians. Their face animations are perfect. But then you get to the humans and the Asari. Then it goes to complete shit. In bizarre camera angles, especially when you're cutting when you're doing a dialogue and literally you can't see their eyeballs. You're just seeing their mouth and their neck and their chest, but you don't see their bizarre little eyeballs. And then when you do see their eyeballs, it's just so fucking weird. And then the character creator, I mean, Dragon Age Inquisition was made on the Frostbite engine, as well as Mass Effect Andromeda. All they had to do was just copy that character creator over onto Mass Effect, and I have no idea how they fucked that up. I mean, and not only that, I mean, dumb. I mean, EA also created The Sims, which has one of the best face creators on The Sims 4. Doesn't make a lick of sense. It's just the human and the Asaris, their facial expressions and all that crap is just weird and doesn't make any sense. And their weird faces and oh, my face is tired. That's never that's never gonna go away. Speaking of which, then you have dialogue. Dialogue is a mixed batch. Story wise, they do make sense out of a lot of things, like why do the cat all look alike? They actually explain that. The dialogue is a mixed bag, or the story. And that the story is both well told in some places and incomplete shit in others. Uh, Bear Hugger, he put it up this one great scene of the Canarian Drake guy, the companion. Him talking about his old age. Great scene. It's actually a fantastic scene. Him talking about how old and raising his daughter and all that. And the dialogue is great. But then you get to like your inspirational speech when you lift off the Tempest for the first time. And I checked all of them on YouTube, even the one I clicked. They're bad, cringeworthy bad. And then you get into the final dialogue where you're gonna go out and defeat the final boss, and you're supposed to give out this inspirational speech. A shot to the head was more better than whatever the fuck they have on the dialogue speech. And I checked even YouTube, both male and female writer. I mean, you got some dialogues written extremely well, and then you got other dialogues that's just. It's like they brought in this fourth grader to write it in. I mean, this book right here has better dialogue than that, than the fucking game. I mean, when somebody from when some hack writer from fucking Amazon has better dialogue than your fucking game in most areas, especially in certain important areas of the story, you fucked up. I mean, I like the fact that they kept their continuity, which is important. And even they explained certain weird things on the game. But damn, the dialogue that's supposed to be inspirational, it's bad. I mean, we're almost talking Batman and Robin bad. I mean, whoever wrote the scene for the Krogan, and oh, most of your companions, except for the black guy, have really great dialogue. Well, alright, the black guy has the most funniest dialogue I've ever seen, especially when you board that pirate ship. It's hilarious. In base, oh, and by the way, you want to do everybody's loyalty missions. Do them all before you get to the final boss. And then you get the QuickTime event, or hit the R2 button if you're a PS4 user, but, or I think it's left mouse, to make a certain action happen. sometimes it didn't register. Sometimes it at least registered when I wanted it to. Like when you had to shoot that one cat over at the that one base. You know, you make the deal with them to make keep the base up and like free all the Endarians. Then it gives you the option to shoot him. Thank God it worked for me. I mean, or shoot her or whatever. Or when you're doing Gel's personal loyalty mission, and of course you're given the option to shoot that one terrorist guy on the Endurians, and I accidentally shot him. Didn't mean to. It registers that movement, even though I didn't hit the R2. Uh, there are some things broken about this game. Of course, then you have weird dialogues where, you're talking to your Krogan friend, and standing next to him is an exact copy of your Krogan companion. And then you lead the dialogue, and there's two Drakes in the fucking kitchen. I actually had that happen. And of course, after I did Korra's personal mission, which brought the Ansari over, I had a conversation with the Ansari Pathfinder. She's just standing there with her arms and her legs just spread out, in the typical 3D model fashion. What the hell? I mean, well, then I'd say didn't. I was gonna say didn't anybody test this game when it came out, but then I remembered it's EA. They've done this before. I mean, hell, they released one of their NBA games, just nothing full of bugs. And EA has a history of buying up a game company, getting rid of all the founders and everybody who's worked on the game, and then replacing them with complete idiots, and then trying to milk the game, only to being forced to just shut the game down. They've done this at least 12 times already. You can look it up. That it's what they do. Fire the original creators or have them leave. Max's was a little different because that guy he insisted on staying and create more games, but his Spore game failed. But they usually get rid of all the original creators or all the people who made the game company great, replacing them with morons, and then coming out with half-ass, not completed games, and then having to finally just end the entire fucking license or the whole game along with the game company, shutting it all down and selling out the rights to other people sometimes. And what's funny is EA even does it to themselves, like Army of Two. That was an EA original property, which in their franchise, and they had to cancel that one, and it's dead. And then there's Medal of Honor, which EA also created, and they killed that game. EA, we're cannibalizing other companies and ourselves because all we can do is sell you sports games. That's it. Just sports games. And the main reason why EA does this is they want the maximum sales for when they finally getting full profit of the game, and then they want to get rid of it. And the other reason, and the main reason why they took over BioWare was they didn't want the Mass Effect franchise. They didn't care about the Mass Effect franchise. They want the Dragon Age because they want an RPG. They want to sell you an RPG. They want to sell you a typical RPG and just slap the name Dragon Age on there because that's what they wanted. They don't care about this whole space opera crap. I mean, hell, they did have Dead Space, but which EA also created and then later killed. But they wanted an RPG, and to them, RPG means only one thing: fantasy role-playing games. They don't think RPG and space adventure. They think, oh, RPG, fantasy role games, dragons. That's right. Even though there are tabletop games that are in space. But this is the problem with EA. They only think in one direction. You say RPG, they say fantasy role playing. Because and, you say first person shooter, army shooter. You say sports game, football. They're that's they don't they can't think three dimensionally or creatively. So when they buy all these companies, you know, they want an RPG. They want a fantasy game. They don't see space shooters as an RPG. They see fantasy games as dragons, knights, and all that other shit. That's the real reason why they went out and bought BioWare. Well, I'm rambling. See ya.